welcome to PTI. I'm your host, Jacob Pastor, with
Jared Rosenblatt
and
Jordan Dillard.
This morning we're going to be starting off in the NBA talking about who they think is the best center, either Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic.
Jared. I'll go first. Okay, we already know the answer. It's the MVP, Nikola Jokic. Not only is he one of the best passing big men of all time, he's also a great scorer, he's a great finisher, and he's not a one-trick pony like Embiid. So, I think the answer is obvious. It's obviously Nikola Jokic.
Well, I feel like it's Joel Embiid. If you seen that at the start of the season, he was the MVP candidate, and it wasn't even close. The only reason why Nikola Jokic stepped up to be MVP is because he got injured, and that wasn't the real MVP in my eyes. I feel like Joel Embiid, he's the most all-around big man we've had in the last 5 years. You're talking about a guy who can take you off the dribble from the perimeter and get you in the paint, and who can also back you down on your best defender and get you a bucket. He averaged 29.7 points for the first 30 games of the season. That's unbelievable. So I feel like that's the best center in the league.
Nikola Jokic carried a team whose second star was injured. He had a torn ACL to the semifinals. Joel Embiid, he's never even been out of the conference finals in his entire career, and he's surrounded by all-stars his entire career. Joel Embiid is not a winning player. Nikola Jokic shows he has the capabilities to be a championship player. Joel Embiid, no, he'll never be a championship winner.
Well, this season, when your co-star is averaging 9 points in a playoff series, that's going to obviously, decline your chances of winning the series. So, Joel Embiid has been very unfortunate in his playoff runs. Last season, playing against Boston Celtics when Ben Simmons tore his ACL. That was hard on them. That's why they got swept. Joel Embiid was balling that series. His career has been full of unfortunate outcomes, and that's what it's summed up to.
The great thing about Nikola Jokic is that he doesn't need to be the highest point per getter on the team. He has so many assists each game that he spreads the wealth of points. While for Joel Embiid, he has to score every single bucket. And, that's why Nikola Jokic is better, because he can help everyone else on the team. Joel Embiid, he can only help himself.
Well, you're talking like that when Nikola Jokic is a liability on the defensive end, other than Joel Embiid. He can literally lock in on 1 through 5 on the defensive court. Unlike Jokic, who they have to spread him out so he's not on an actual good perimeter offensive player or post player, because he'll get exposed. That's why I feel like that's what separates them and being the best center in the NBA.
All right, moving on to our next topic, we're going to transition to the NFL. So we got a Jaguars and a Dolphins fan here. Who do you think is going to be better this season out of the two Florida teams?
I'll go first. I feel like it's going to be the Jaguars. We're going to have a great young core coming into the season. We're going to have Trevor Lawrence, Trey Sermon, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, and they're all going to develop. And I feel like every single one of them is going to take strides this season. Trevor Lawrence is going to strive in that offense, that high-powered offense that we're going to have. DJ Chark is going to actually get more balls and actually strive with a great quarterback. Trey Sermon is going to get carries. We're going to have a great overall team next season.
Let me drop a simple fact for you. The biggest turnaround in record is a 10-win improvement. That was the 1-15 Miami Dolphins to the 11-5 Miami Dolphins. The Jaguars, coming off a 1-15 season, have no chance of matching the Dolphins record, which was 10-6 last year, and with an improved team surrounded by a much younger core and a much better core, will be much better than the 10-6 record they had last year. So, obviously, it will be the Dolphins. Also, Trevor Lawrence, I think he will be very good. But we haven't seen one game. Also, Urban Meyer, not a very smart hire at all. Tim Tebow, for God's sake. That's their tight end right now, okay? He's a meme player at best.
Well, I feel like when you're saying that, the Dolphins have been doing any better. They had a great chance of making the playoffs last year, and they just didn't. I don't know how that happens. When the Jaguars, 3 years ago, we were just in the AFC Championship playing against Tom Brady. So I feel like we can get back to that point and elevate our team this year.
3 years ago, Saxonville was alive and well. 3 years later, it's very dead.
All right, well, that's all we have today for PTI. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jacob Pastor.
I'm Jared Rosenblatt.
I'm Jordan Dillard.
See you next time.